Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. We are in Amrutanubhava, chapter 7, Agnana Khandana. Agnana Khandana, denial of ignorance. What is the status of ignorance? Is ignorance possible? Is ignorance possible? This is what we are looking at, and today we are in the third verse, and the third verse is about the ignorance has value only in the realm of ignorance is explained in the third OV. In other words, from the absolute point of view, there is no ignorance. From the self point of view, there is no ignorance. Jaisi swapna swapni mahima tarmi mana asetama tevi agnana garima agnanichi. Just as the glory of the dream is while dreaming alone, or darkness has validity in the darkness, similarly, the ignorance has respect only in the realm of ignorance. How beautifully Jnaneshwar Maharaj is putting it across. That the validity of the dream is only possible in the dream. The moment you wake up, there is no dream. Similarly, the sleep. But don't forget, there is the third part, which is waking. So validity of the waking is only till the waking. The moment you wake up from the waking, no validity for the waking experience. This is the point that Jnaneshwar Maharaj is talking about, and Swamiji says, the glory of the dream is only during the dream state and not beyond. Once the waking state arrives, there is no more value to what happened in the dream. Similarly, darkness is meaningful only in darkness. So also, ignorance is respected only in ignorance. But the world is not the effect of a cause. It is karyanumeya. So where are we? Ignorance is, I think I jumped the step. So also, ignorance is respected only in ignorance. Ignorance is inferred from the effect, karyanumeya, but the world is not the effect of a cause. See? And this is where our problem comes. Our problem is, we are told world is also divine, and when we begin our journey in Shankaracharya commentary and everything, we are told Jagat is the effect of Maya, or is the expression of Maya. Because of the Maya, you are able to see the world, or you are experiencing the world. We are told there is cause and effect, and cause is the ignorance, and the effect is the space, air, fire, water, earth, and then the plants, and then from the plants came the life, and life is what we are experiencing ourselves as. So where did the whole world come from? We are also told in another way of looking at it that deep sleep is the cause and waking and dream are the effect. Deep sleep is the cause, waking and dream are the effect. Manifestation and unmanifestation are both expressions of Maya or ignorance. But here what are we saying? That, but the world is not the effect of a cause. Do we have this vision yet? Why we don't have this vision? Because we are obsessed with name and form. That's why we don't have this vision. Why we don't have this vision? Because we are not established in the self that we are. We are established in the waking. Therefore, name and form in the waking. We are established in the dream as the dreamer. Therefore, name and form of the dream. But the moment you wake up, neither the dreamer is there nor the name and form. The world of dream is there. So right now, what is your status? Are you the waker or are you the witness, the pure consciousness? It's a very, very fine dissection. So which position do you take? Just as, do you take the position of Gaunatma, Mithyatma or Mukhyatma? Virtual, relative or actual? Self. So, but the world is not the effect of a cause. So, is there a world? That is the first question. Because you are experiencing a dream world, does it mean it is there? Because you are seeing mirage waters, can you drink the water? Because you are seeing a dream world, can you go back to the same world every night? Then what makes you believe that you are coming back to the same world in the waking every day? Every day you wake up, you are in the same body, the same world, the same relations, the same positions, the same aspirations, the same regrets, the same joys, the same sorrows. What makes you think that way? If the status of the dreamer and the dream world, if we have understood, exactly the same is the status of waker and the waking world. And that state, that, and it will not click till we don't wake up from the waking, till we don't be the self. Then we will discover. What will we discover? What did we discover after waking up about the dream world? What we discover? It was only a figment of imagination, not to be indulged in. And what will we discover about the waking world? Only a figment of imagination, not important to indulge in it. What is our lifestyle right now? Exactly the opposite. And then we wonder why my mind is not at peace, why I am trying so much, I am doing japa, I am doing meditation, I am doing this, I am doing that, but still the mind troubles me. This is the reason. We have put the eggs in a basket which can never give us an omelette. World can never give us happiness. So that's where we have put all our eggs. We have taken this status of waking and the waking world and the waking experience as valid, as real. But the world is not the effect of a cause, it is the manifestation of the divine. So, what is the world if it is not the effect of a cause? If the world is not the effect of ignorance, if the world is not the effect of Maya, if world is not the effect of, is not the expression of Prakriti, then what is its substratum? What do you call Prakriti? Very important point. What do you call Prakriti? All names and forms you call Prakriti. Space, air, fire, water, earth, you call Prakriti. See? What do you call mind? What do you call mind? Mind is nothing but consciousness. Then what do you call mind? Mind is where there is thought. Thought is about always name and form, or any of the qualities, or any of the objectivity. That objectivity, when it appears as a thought on the mind, it is on the consciousness, it is called mind. But what is there? What is the material which has gone into that thought? Can the thought appear independent of the mind? No. Then where does it appear? It appears on the surface of the mind, meaning it appears on the surface of consciousness, just as the wave is appearing on the surface of the waters. So, what is the essence? What is the material that has gone into making the wave? Nothing but water. What is the material which has gone into making the thought? Nothing but the consciousness. But where is our attention? Instead of on the consciousness, our attention is on the thought or on the name and form. See? So whether the thought appears or does not appear, nothing, there is no, the consciousness is not affected. No, but we do get affected. Then you are stupid. Correct yourself. If the world appears or disappears, if the world manifests, is maintained, if this solar system has come into existence in this space, total Akash, it is maintained for a few million years. After that, it dissolves away. The whole solar system collapses. Will anything happen to the space? Nothing. Till today, has anything happened to the mind because so many thoughts have come and gone? Nothing. Why? Because it is always the consciousness. Then the problem comes where? When we get identified with that which is existing in its own absence. And what is that? Name and form. When we identify that which is not there, rather than the essence, that's where the problem begins. And that is the point is being made here. But the world is not the effect of a cause, it is the manifestation of the divine. This is the transformation of vision that comes about as a result of surrender, as a result of single-pointed approach, focus towards the self. Through discrimination, you come to this realization. It's not that it is you come to a conclusion. No, it is a revelation. It's a revelation. And what happens after that revelation? All your hooking into name and form disappears. What is original remains. And that original, you don't have to even, whether mind thinks about it or doesn't think about it, doesn't matter. Too much preoccupation with cause and effect will result in being static in the field of the intellect. Cause and effect is an aspect of the intellect. So when Nachiket in Kathopanishad asks, Anyatra dharmat, anyatra asmat kritat, anyatra bhutacha bhavyacha, yatat pashyati tadvada. So, what is that which is beyond dharma and adharma, righteousness and righteousness? Anyatra asmat. What is that which is beyond cause and effect? Kruta akruta. What is that which is beyond doing and undoing, not doing? Bhuta cha bhavya cha. What is that which is beyond past and future? See? So there anyatra asmat, cause and effect. Truth cannot be, truth is untouched by cause and effect. Truth is untouched by ignorance. Because we are using these words ignorance, because we are using the word cause and effect, because we are using the words Satchidananda, because we are using the word, so many words we are using to explain, does it illuminate the truth? Not possible. Does it create a dent on the truth? Does the truth become more available or less available? No. Whether there is an ocean or a wave, does it in any way influence the waters? No way. Water is complete in itself. So here when it says ignorance is, it is the manifestation of the divine. The world is the manifestation of the divine. It is Sat. It is existence. Our attention is not on existence, which is the constant principle. Our existence is on the name and form, which is changing. Too much preoccupation with cause and effect will result in being static in the field of intellect. And this is what happens. Bhagwan, we make Bhagwan as the cause, and why Lord gave us so many miseries, why Lord is giving me disease, why Lord is not allowing my mind to be quiet, why did Lord create the world where there is so much war, why the Lord created so much misery in the world. So what have we made? What is our conclusion? That Lord is the cause and world is the effect. Good and bad. Yes, it is the Lord who, because of the Lord, I am successful. It is because of the Lord that I have failed. It is that is good as a seeker. As the beginning steps, it is good. But we are not at the beginning step in this text. we are reading the direct experience being put into words by Jnaneshwar Maharaj. His direct experience of the truth. See? It means giving too much value to ignorance. There is nothing like ignorance and nothing is to be removed. So what is all our sadhana? Our sadhana is, I am ignorant, but I am of the nature of absolute. I have to remove ignorance so that I realize myself, that I am the truth. Isn't it? That's what we are doing here, sitting here talking. But what is the truth from a realized person's point of view? There is nothing called ignorance and there is nothing to be removed. Everything is nothing but that divine reality. There is no coming and going. There is no process. Therefore, one needs to be dedicated only to knowledge, and no sympathy is needed. No sympathy need be wasted on ignorance by questioning the cause of whatever happens to one in one's life. Therefore, see, this is a very, very important point to keep your mind at peace. Why this is happening in my life? Why my partner passed away? Why my children? What is the point of me living when my children are not successful? What is the point if someone in someone's life, if the children have passed away before the parents? Why this has happened? What paap did I do? What sin did I commit that my children have passed away before I have? Cause effect. Instead, what should be our approach in life? Wherever you are placed, whenever you are placed, whatever role you are playing, play it 100%. Swamiji's mantra. Wherever, whenever, whatever you are, be 100%. How do you be 100%? Karnataka. Play the role. But what do? We become serious with the role. I am a father. Don't speak to me like that. I am a mother. I carried you for 9 months in my womb. Now for the rest of your life you have to suffer and serve me. Is that the reason I gave you birth? Is that a contract? Did you do a favor on that child? You brought that child into the world because of your desire. Did you ask, hey, you want to come? You didn't ask. And many times children are born without even parents knowing that they have been conceived. So don't load them up with guilt. Don't expect anything back in return. Live every moment in abandonment. That word abandonment means without expectation, without hooks. Just dealing with what is in front of you as it is, with no coloring. And how do you do it? Karnataka. Play the game, play the game, play the game. Oh, but it was my birthday and you didn't even wish me. It was Mother's Day and you didn't wish me. Is this the day I'm alive that even my children don't wish me on the Mother's Day? You decide. You are living only to get the wishes for your Mother's Day or your birthday. Or your existence is more important, whether someone wishes you or doesn't wish you. What have we given importance to? If we are expecting a response, if we are expecting a happy Mother's Day, happy birthday, our attention is on the birth. Our attention is on cause and effect. Our attention is on the form. Get out of it. There is nothing like ignorance and nothing is to be removed. You cannot remove the wave from the water. You try to remove the wave, you will create more waves. Isn't it? Then what do? You leave the water without interfering with the water. All the waves will automatically subside. Correct? I'm talking about bucket of water. So don't indulge in the mind in the wrong way. Stand apart. After some time, the mind will quieten down. And it does quieten down every night. Or choose a worthy goal. Choose a worthy goal by focusing on which the mind quietens down. That is also another way. Japa is another way. Watching the breath is another way. But actually, watching the breath, thinking about something greater, nothing is required, because you are already that which you are seeking. A wave is already that which it is seeking, which is water. It is always water. Then where is the question of ignorance? Where is the question of limitation? Where is the question of conditioning? It's only because the wave's attention is not on the water, it is on the name and form. Our limitation is only because, what is the limitation? Name and form. Conditioning is the form. Conditioning is I was born on a particular date. Conditioning is these are my parents. Conditioning is one day I will die. Conditioning is my mind is not in my control. Conditioning is I am an individual. Conditioning is that I am a father, mother, daughter, sister. Inquire into their actuality. Very quickly everything will dissolve. We want to maintain the ignorance, meaning we want to maintain the world and yet come to know the truth. It is not going to happen. So the earlier and quicker you come to this understanding that while maintaining the status of the world as valid, which is the waking world we are talking about, keeping it as valid and wanting to know the truth or merge into the divine, surrender to the divine, it is not going to be possible. Then what is possible? If you do these two things, keep the world as valid and continue to surrender, it will only lead to frustration. It will only lead to agitation. We have to ascertain the correct status of the world. And right now, if you are understanding it and still this understanding is not propelling you to merge into the divine, and on the other hand, yeah, I understood everything, it becomes a party topic or a group discussion topic, and keep maintaining the world, we have lost the plot. Water always is, consciousness always is, Atma always is. Everything, I shouldn't even use the word everything. Atma alone is. Because when I say everything, means thing, name and form. All names and forms. But that is a paddhati, that is a way of communicating. That everything is nothing but Atman. But have we developed that, have we recognized that we are that Atman? Therefore, one needs to be dedicated only to knowledge, and no sympathy need to be wasted on ignorance by questioning the cause of whatever happens to one in life. Just take it in the stride. खाना मिल गया तो खा लिया, कोई छोड़ के चला गया तो चला गया, कोई आ गया तो आ गया. ना कुछ ना कुछ पाना, ना कुछ खोना. There is nothing to achieve and there is nothing to lose. किसी को आओ मत कहो, किसी को जाओ मत कहो. Don't ask anyone to come, don't ask anyone to go. You be with yourself. Acceptance of the world as it is. Dvandvatmakam. What is the status of the world or the nature of the world? It is dvandvatmakam. It is made up of opposites. Sometimes the man is strong in a family. After a few years, the woman is strong in the family. Oh, but once upon a time, you used to listen to me, now you're not listening. That time you continue living in the past. I'm living in the present. Now I'm the boss. Before I was having only black hair, now I have only white hair. Why? Before I had hair, now I have got no hair. Before I was healthy, now I am not healthy. Dandvatvakam. The world is like that. Accept it and forget. No time to waste on it. The more we indulge in thinking about the world, the more we will be agitated. Because there is no solution for the world. In the world, there are no solutions. In the self, no solutions are required. Because self is all that there is. The world is a pair of opposites. And dvaitatmakam, there is duality. It is dvandvatmakam and dvaitatmakam is to ignore ignorance. So when you recognize the world is full of duality and dualism, one is outside, one is inside. The duality outside, dvandvatmakam, the duality inside, dvaitatmakam. This duality, these opposites are the when we accept it that the world's nature is like that, by ignorance is denied. We ignore the ignorance, that as Swamiji is saying. Then the matrix collapses. Then the mind becomes quiet. Once you accept. If you don't accept, why my husband is behaving like this today? Why my wife is behaving like this today? Why my children are answering back today? Why? Where? When? How? Dandvatmakam. There's no conclusive answers for those questions. And through these questions, we want to find a solution to our current situation. Gaye kaam se. How ignorance has no independent existence is said in the next OV through a striking simile. It says, Kolheri tsevaru nayeti dharaki dharu nayelena shungaru vodambaricha. The horses made of clay cannot be used for riding. So also, the necklaces, ornaments created by the magicians cannot be used for decoration of one's body. Similarly, the mirage waters cannot be used for storing water or taking bath or quenching your thirst. See? In the same way, the effect of ignorance has no meaning because the cause itself, namely ignorance, is non existence. See what we keep saying, ignorance is the cause, karma and karma is the effect. But when the ignorance itself is not there, then what is the status of karma and karma? What is the status of desire and action? If this is like the Vandhyaputra, the child of a barren woman. Are? So child is the effect, the cause is the barren woman. Can barren, what, you have made a statement and child of a barren woman. But what have you understood? What is the conclusion? Conclusion is there is no child because barren woman can never produce a child. But what is the statement we made? Son of a barren woman. Exactly the same way. What did we create the effect? Karma and karma. Of what? Ignorance. What is the state of ignorance? It does not exist. If the cause itself does not exist, if the cause itself is not valid, if the cause itself is not standing up to the inquiry and then can the effect of cause, what is the effect of cause? Desire and action. Do they have any validity? No. How are we living? Only at that level. See? The effect of ignorance has no meaning because the cause itself, namely ignorance, is non existent. Therefore, the words which try to explain ignorance or the world which is the effect of ignorance or ignorance itself, none of them has any value. The cause which is ignorance, the effect of ignorance, or the ignorance itself, all these words which establish them or talk about them have got no value. In other words, what are we saying? Whatever we are saying right now has got no value. Again, why are we using the words then? Just like a thorn is used to take out the prick thorn and both of them are thrown away. So we are using the words to establish the impotency of the words, the impotency of the words like ignorance, cause, effect. So our obsession with these words, our obsession with duality, our obsession with dualism, our obsession with name and form is checked. That is what we studied in the last chapter, words devalued. To the extent the attention is on the pure consciousness, to that extent ignorance and the effect of ignorance will get devalued. So, by thinking ignorance is not there, ignorance is not there, ignorance is not there, ignorance will not go away. By thinking waking is not there, waking is not there, waking is not there, waking will not go away. By the dreamer thinking the dream is not there, dream is not there, it will not go away. He has to wake up. The waker, by thinking that the world is not there, the body is not there, the breath is not there, the mind is not there, the intellect is not there, the body, breath, mind, intellect are not going to go away. Because your attention is on that which is not. And that is, when you give attention to that which is not, you are increasing its validity. You are giving it value. You are giving it importance. And it continues to play havoc in your life. When we are continuing to give validity to the duality, it continues to keep us in the loop. So what is the way out? In spite of it, bring your attention to the conscious principle. Bring your attention to the conscious principle. Right now also you are conscious. So where is your attention? Is your attention on the words, or is your attention on the one because of whom the listening is possible? Attention on that principle because of which thoughts are possible, understanding is possible. What is that principle? That I am. Be that. Don't get obsessed with words. Don't get obsessed with intelligence. Don't get obsessed with knowledge. Don't get obsessed with objectivity. Let objectivity be a trigger. Because the objectivity is not going to stop. It will continue as long as you are available to it. Question is, are you available to the objectivity, or are you available to the subject that you are? The moment we become available to the subject, objectivity automatically dissolves. Because it was never there. Objectivity gets validity, this you know. Objects get validity, whatever is object. The otherness gets validity only when we give value and attention to it. If you withdraw the attention from it, as you do in sleep, you withdraw your attention from objectivity and focus it on something like sleep, which you don't know what it is, but you have shifted your attention. You have withdrawn your value giving and importance giving to the objective world, the waking world. Where does the waking world go? It dissolves. Dissolves where? It dissolves from your mind. It's not unable to impact your mind. Same way, you shift your attention to the conscious principle that you are, the Atman that you are, the constant one that you are. This is brought about by mantra, Vaikhari Madhyama Pashyanti Para, from gross to subtle to causal and to transcendental. Then what will happen? The world will dissolve. The otherness will dissolve. The differences will dissolve. But where did they go? They were not there in the first place. They are only appearing. They didn't have validity. Your value giving was making them real. Your importance given to that which is not there was keeping in its place, them in its place, was keeping the world in its place. The moment you withdraw their attention, the world collapses. When the world collapses, what remains? The truth remains, the consciousness remains. When all the waves collapse, what remains? Water remains. See? This is contemplation. You see the foolishness of our approach when you contemplate in this manner. लगे हुए हैं. Only one shift is required. Shift your attention to the conscious principle. This is what we the Dakshinamurti Stotram, Maunam Vyakyat Prakatita Parabrahma Yuvanam. Maunam, in silence the teaching is given. He's teaching. Remain silent. We don't know how to be bloody silent. Why? If I silent, silence will not feed the stomachs. The silent, if I remain silent and if I don't do anything, then who will clean the house? Then who will cook the food? Then who will put the food into the on the table? Get out of it. To the extent the attention is on the pure consciousness, to that extent ignorance and the effect of ignorance will get devalued. Understand the principle. This is what you are doing every night when you go to sleep. Assess it properly, correctly. Then the perspective will only, no, then the perspective will turn around totally. The thought that I am alive because I am eating or respiring will be replaced by the thought, which is the true position, that because I am alive, I am eating, breathing, etc. So, what is our situation right now? Because I am in a satsang, therefore I am understanding. What is the other way of looking at it? Because I am conscious, therefore the mind is going through the process of understanding and etc. Because I am listening, because I am seeing, because I am thinking, because I am understanding, therefore I am a seeker. No, I am consciousness, therefore seeing, hearing, touching, feeling, tasting, thinking, understanding is going on. It's the inverted position. We have given value to that, and because of that, we define ourselves. Now our attention is on this, that I am, and slowly the transformation of vision happens, that without me, the consciousness, the constant one, seeing, hearing, touching, feeling, tasting, thinking, intellectualizing, logicalizing cannot happen by itself. See? But consciousness is. Then third step is there. Whether thinking, seeing, hearing, feeling, tasting, thinking, etc. comes or doesn't, happens or does not happen, I remain the same. So here, then the perspective will turn around totally. The thought that I am alive because I am eating or breathing will be replaced by the thought, which is the true position, that because I am alive, I am eating, breathing, seeing, hearing, touching, etc. This shift will come only when our attention moves to the conscious principle. Now a question is raised, is it possible at all that ignorance can exist in pure consciousness? Now a question is raised, is it possible at all that a wave can exist in the water? A question is raised, is it possible that an ornament can remain in the gold? Similarly, is it possible that ignorance can exist in pure consciousness? What is the answer coming to you? Those who are listening, what is the answer coming? I'm asking. One by one.
That there is nothing but pure consciousness.
Renuka?
It can be both, Swamiji.
I will have to I'll have to, like Ramchandraji shot the arrow to Marich and threw back, pushed him all the way outside India. I'll have to throw an arrow at you and throw you back to the Arunachala. After so much of studies, you're still giving validity to ignorance? Are you doing it purposely to tease me?
No, Swami, no.
So when you say both exist, your approach is that you are listening to non-dual, but your mind is settled in duality. Your mind is settled in Ishwar and Prakriti.
Yeah.
That is what I understand. That still for us, the world and the cause of the world and the Purusha Prakriti or subject and object or reality, non-reality, this is still valid for us. Until this is valid, the non-dual will not, even though it is always, but it will not be available. Because we are still enjoying the coming and going. Objectivity is coming and going. Duality means coming and going. Duality means birth and death. Duality means the cyclical life. We are enjoying that. So, now, as what was the question read? Is it possible at all that ignorance can exist in pure consciousness? My thinking here, I don't know what Swamiji is writing. Simple conclusion, with all that we have understood or not understood till now, if I give validity to ignorance and I give validity to the truth, then there will be two realities. Understand? But reality is always ekameva dvitiya. Reality is only one. But if I say that ignorance can exist in pure consciousness, if I come to this conclusion that ignorance exists in pure consciousness, then there is something called pure consciousness and there is something called ignorance. Again, duality. And what is the nature of pure consciousness? All knowledge. Consciousness means knowledge. And what are we saying? Ignorance is possible in knowledge. If we go with that premise, realization is not possible. Because we are self-sabotaging all the time by giving validity to ignorance in pure consciousness. Then we are not understood. Duality can never lead to the unifying principle.
Swamiji, why I said that it is both, when you say consciousness, that means you're also referring to ignorance as well. So when you say one, we are also saying that there is two. So that's, in that sense only I'm saying it's in both.
All that we have already resolved in the previous two chapters.
Yes, Swami. Yeah.
Words in the chapter words devalued, we have already resolved that we are using the words only to cancel the words.
Oh, yes.
We are only using for that purpose.
Yeah.
We are not here to using words to validate the words. But that is the only way of communication possible. We are not in the morning at between 7 to 8, we begin with words, then we become Dakshina Murti Stos. Maunam Vyakat. Then there is only silence. See? Around Maharishi was most of the time only in silence, and yet things used to be resolved. But from his point of view, nothing needs to be resolved, nothing needs to be fixed, nothing needs to be done, nothing needs not to be done.
Yes, Swami.
See? First, it was said that ignorance exists. Now, Swamiji is explaining. First, it was said that ignorance exists because of the substratum or support of consciousness. So, before it was said that Prakriti exists because there is Ishvara. Maya exists because there is Ishvara. Ishvara's potency itself is Maya. Ishvara's potency is itself the Prakriti, the Shakti. And how did we say? She is the Ardhangini. She manifests out of him alone. He is not separate to it. Now apply it on yourself. This is the first statement we are talking about. That if there is no life, if there is no pure consciousness, if there is no substratum called Atma, can mind be possible? Not possible, no? So this is the first step. Now slowly, this also will be resolved. So first it was said that ignorance exists because of the substratum or support of consciousness. Having thus drawn the attention away from ignorance to consciousness, now we are bringing our attention away from the mind, which is a product of duality, which thinks only about opposites. The attention, we are not talking about the mind, we are talking about the attention is withdrawn from the mind, and the attention is brought to the constant principle, the conscious principle, the unchanging principle, the substratum. Having thus drawn the attention away from ignorance to consciousness, the question is analyzed: is it ever possible for the pure consciousness to support ignorance at all? Is it possible for water to support the waves at all? Because our attention is on cause and effect, we say ocean is supporting the waves, the cause itself is appearing as effects, the ocean is alone expressing as the infinite waves. Whether the waves are there or not there, the ocean remains the same. But is our attention on waves and ocean? Is that the conclusion that we are coming to? Cause and effect? Or is our attention on the conscious principle? Is our attention on the water, the absolute water, the infinite waters? From water's point of view, there is nothing called ocean and there is nothing called wave. Exactly the same way here. Ultimately, the conclusion will be reached that Sarvam Khalvidam Brahma, everything is the pure consciousness alone, everything is Paramatma alone, and there is nothing like ignorance or the effect of ignorance. There is nothing to be rejected in this world, but everything is to be accepted as divine presence in different forms. And this is the philosophy of the Sanatana Dharma. Therefore, you even have a donkey as the vehicle of Shitala Mata. Donkey is to be revered also. Mouse also is the vehicle of Ganesha. Everything is divinized. It is not for confusion. It is not for confusion. That is the fact. Everything is divine. But we don't have the vision to see the divinity. We don't have the vision of Meera. We don't have the vision of gopis. We don't have the vision of Ahalya, those who have been listening to the Adhyatma Ramayana. So, develop that vision by bringing attention to the conscious principle. We cannot develop it, it has to be presented. It is grace, it's a revelation. By our doing, it is not going to come about. Only when our doing, only when our efforts from shifting our attention from the mind, from the objectivity to the conscious principle, in that whatever effort is required, if at all you think efforts are required, actually no efforts are required. We only put efforts because we don't know how to be effortless. Only because we don't know how to be effortless, therefore we put efforts. So either be effortless, drop of a coin and you are effortless. Or begin with efforts, but the efforts must lead to effortlessness. Then you transcend. So here our everything is Paramatma alone, and there is nothing like ignorance or the effect of ignorance. There is nothing to be rejected in this world, but everything is to be accepted as divine in different forms. This is the unique approach of Jnaneshwar Maharaj. Same is the approach of our Shankaracharya also, who says, initially he says, I am not this, I am not this, I am not this, I am the conscious principle. Once you recognize and be the conscious principle, spontaneous acceptance, the spontaneous shift in the vision that everything is divine also comes about. Just as the gopis initially, they did not see the whole world as Krishnamaya. They were only focused on Krishna, 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 Krishna. They were doing their jobs, they were feeding the cows, they were feeding their children, they were cooking their food, they were taking care of their husbands or parents. But their attention was always, their eagerness was always for Krishna. They could not forget him. But by the grace, a point came where after the Ras Leela, on the Sharat Purnima, on the full moon day, thereafter what happened? Wherever they looked, there was only Krishna. This happens by grace. So was Krishna not there before when they didn't know? He was still there. So Krishna, I'm talking about Shankaracharya's approach. So first you withdraw from that which is keeping you in the loop, come to the conscious principle, come to Krishna, and then Krishna will grace you with the vision of that I am everywhere. Sarvam Khalvidam Brahma. And what is Jnaneshwar Maharaj saying? This text is not about the process of realization. This text is about, Amrutanubhava is about his experience of realization. It's not about the process. He is talking about where he is sitting. He is sitting in the pure consciousness. From there, what does he see? He sees there is only the self, only the Paramatma, only the Brahman, only the self. Always keep the context with which we are studying this. It is the experience of realization. Amrutanubhava. The experience of the immortal nectar. We are not talking about processes. Shankaracharya is talking about processes and then bringing you through that process, through that analysis to yourself, and showing you that Aham Brahmasmi, that this Atma that I am alone is the infinite Brahman, which is, and this Atma and Brahman, there are two words, but actually they are one and the same. Wave and ocean are two words, but actually they are nothing but water. In this way, we have to contemplate. Now, the next verse. This is the unique approach of Sant Jnaneshwara. He zanane yacha ghari खोचीले ही आनन करी काई चांदिना उठे लहरी मृगजळाची. Even if we try to find this ignorance in the light of consciousness, it is not found, just as there cannot be waves in the mirage waters in moonlight. Even if you want to try to find mirage waters in the moonlight, it will not be possible. Mirage waters are possible only when the rays of the sun are hitting the earth at a particular angle. Then alone the mirage waters are created. You cannot get mirage waters early in the morning, sunrise time or sunset time. They usually happen when the sun is at its peak. See? So similarly, just as even if we try to find mirage waters on a full moon night, it is not possible. Similarly, full moon is here taking the representation of the self, that in the self, if we try to find ignorance, we are not going to find. You start looking for the mind, you start looking for the pure consciousness, the mind will vanish. You start looking for the source of the mind will vanish. You start looking for the I, who am I? The mind will vanish. The individuality will vanish. Our attention must come to the constant principle. So here he says, this avidya or ignorance that we are talking about, when one inquires, investigates into its nature again and again, and interrogate the very existence of ignorance in knowledge, the pure consciousness, the ignorance will not show its face. Ignorance cannot stand to this inquiry because it is not. So what can remain? That which is always. What will go away? Which was never there. So now find out what is always going away. The day is going away, the year is going away, the life is going away, the breath is going away, the body is going away, the memories are going away, the space, air, fire, water, earth are going away, the waker, dreamer, sleeper are going away, the parents are going away, the brothers, sisters are going away, our idea about ourselves is going away, the subject is going away, the object is going away. So everything that is going away never existed in its first place. So how you are going to remove that which does not exist? How you are going to remove the mirage waters? You didn't create it. Jnaneshwar Maharaj is abiding in consciousness, as consciousness. From where he is looking, ignorance cannot be possible. We are sitting in the mind as the mind. Because if you say, no, I am awake, you are awake to the waking mind. That being awake is also a concept of the mind. It's got nothing to do with pure consciousness. If you are making any statement, you are in the mind only. And that mind is in the waking. You have to get out of it. Not be affected by it. That requires courage. That requires grace. Courage on your part as an individual to put efforts in the right direction. What is that right direction? Shift the attention to the conscious principle. And what is grace? The transformation of your vision. that everything, Sarvam Khalvidam Brahma, everything is divine. Then what was the status of ignorance? What was the status of life? What was the status of birth and death? What was the status of past, future? What was the status of the journey that we traversed to reach, to get this vision? There was no journey only. After coming to the Sarvam Khalvidam Brahma, when you look back, again open your eyes, the vision is transformed. There is no journey because there is no individual. There is no ignorance. Ignorance cannot stand to this inquiry because it is not. To elucidate, can there be an upsurge of waves on the mirage waters because it is full moon? Mirage can appear only at a particular time during the day. Therefore, the appearance of the mirage in the moonlight is an impossibility. Equally impossible is it for ignorance to appear in pure consciousness. Keep this thought and contemplate till Wednesday, till Kathopanishad. Accept that you are the constant principle. Don't get lost in words. Don't get lost in waking. We'll conclude here for today and see you on Wednesday. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Sit quietly for a moment. Hari Om everyone.